Good morning, Susan and Deb. Happy Monday. um, at the start of another week. Coming in on the end of September. It feels like it was just the beginning of September. Well, 2.5 weeks ago. No, it just does. It really seems like it was just moments ago. I think that's how it is with the fall. It kind of slips right by, right? Um, so that's how it is. That's fine. Well, I hope you had a good weekend. I didn't really get too much done. Trying to get some painting done. Um, I have some construction. I realized I really didn't do anything on the porch this year, which is crazy. Like, I worked so much on it last, and it doesn't seem like it was a year ago, but it was, right? It was last late summer, early fall, which, I mean, feels like a lifetime ago, right? I can't even, I have a hard time remembering what we were doing a year ago right now. Um, I guess just regular things, right? Going to class and yeah. But a lot has changed since then, hasn't it? Very different now. So I was talking today with my husband, or over the weekend, rather, with my husband about um, this idea of fatigue, right? This um, pandemic fatigue. And I think we go through various stages of it. Um, maybe, I think right before I was on vacation, I had a week where I was feeling pretty low, um, and really struggling to do anything, um, besides just basic getting out of bed, which was tough enough. But um, and then when we got back from vacation, he kind of fell into that sort of slump, where you're just kind of getting by. Um, so it can be a little disconcerting if you've never experienced that kind of thing. For me, it's disconcerting, but it's also kind of familiar, because I have had issues with depression my whole life. Um, and that was kind of a thing in my family. Like, I think a lot of people had depression, diagnosed or otherwise. Um, so it's not unfamiliar to me, this sensation, and um, seeing other people, going through that. Um, but for someone who hasn't experienced that or has never seen that, it's never was something that they grew up with, or it can be kind of unnerving. So if you do have feelings like that, it's very normal. Um, Going through a difficult situation like this, it would be very normal to have times when you feel low and you don't want to get out of bed, or you're basically just getting by. You eat your food and do the bare minimum, right, to just get through the day. um, so don't worry if you feel like that, right? If you do feel like that for a long period of time, or you're having trouble functioning, like even like eating food and stuff, then you might want to talk to somebody. You might want to get in touch with your doctor, um, and see what you might need to do to get yourself back upright again. For most of us, it would be just a passing thing, but for some people, it may spark kind of a deeper issue that you may have. And depression is something that people don't talk about very much, and it's kind of misunderstood. Um, and I think some of us are genetically predisposed to it, right? We've got something with our brain chemistry that makes us more susceptible to these situations. But for a lot of us, depression can come on as a very common side effect to a stressful situation, right? Um, so I have had issues through my life where I've had kind of these ups and downs where sometimes I'm working 24 hours a day, 20 hours a day, and really going high, and then kind of crash down and have a week where I'm just kind of creeping along, um, but still pretty functional. But knowing that there was something not quite right about that, right? Um, and it wasn't until my father got ill. He had been living with us for quite a few years, and I started to be sort of his primary caregiver in terms of he just got to the point where he wasn't really doing a lot for himself. I had to really keep an eye on everything he was doing. So it was kind of like having a toddler. um, but the worst kind of toddler, right? Toddler, is going to grow up, but this toddler was just going to get worse, right? Um, and that really kicked off a very rough time for me. Um, but with some therapy and some medication, I got through it. And for a lot of people, that's what happens with their depression. It's a moment in time, right? It is a response to a difficult or stressful situation that you're going through. Maybe a very normal sort of response for you. It makes sense. Like you understand why that's happening. Doesn't mean that you might not need some help to get through it. And it probably took a good year for me to kind of feel like I was back up on top of things. Um, but I'm very careful now. I try to make sure that I am aware of what's going on with me. And when it's just a passing thing, or it might be something more. Um, so if you are feeling depressed, it's probably normal. This is not the most exciting and fabulous time in our lives. There's no doubt about it. There's a lot of things going on that are very difficult, and we're struggling with some of them. Um, so if that's your response, if you start feeling like that, I can understand why you would. But that doesn't mean we don't have to get through it. We do. Right? So when my father, that was really when I turned back to yoga, when this whole situation was happening with my dad, and I was really having issues. Um, and I found that yoga has helped me immensely. It's not a magic, right? It takes a lot of work. I have to really stay, you know, focused, and I got to, live my yamas and my niyamas and work on my meditation and all of this stuff to try to keep my mental health on track. But we all have issues, right? Some people are prone to depression, some people prone to anxiety. Um, there's a lot, uh, there's a lot of stuff we have to deal with in the course of our life. Um, not, it's not easy. And we can falter, we can have, problems. So don't um, don't be afraid to ask for help if you need it. Work your yoga steps. Come back, to the basics on that. And we are building, hopefully, that mental strength and resilience that can help us move through harder times. But again, it's not magic, right? Just because you're practicing yoga, you're doing these things, you're working on building that mental resilience, it doesn't mean you're not going to have issues. You're not going to have times where you're just like, well, this isn't working. I'm going to go to bed. It's okay. It's okay, right? You don't have to be perfect. You don't have to always feel like everything's great, because sometimes things aren't that great. Sometimes things are really working rough. So we'll just keep going. And eventually we will come through this to the other side. But, again, life is a long path, and there are always going to be hills and valleys. It's our job to just keep going. And however you need to get there, that's what we do. So the main thing is, don't feel alone, right? We are all struggling. Whether it looks like it or not, everybody's got their own demons and their own issues. So remember that we aren't alone. And we aren't, we don't need to sort of suffer, right? We can get help. We can go talk to somebody. There is a lot of things that can help. And, just keep an eye on it, right? That's what I do. I keep an eye on it. And my husband, when I'm having these type of things, my husband's like, hey, is this just, are you just having a day, or is this something we should worry about? And it's nice. It's a reminder, right? That you want to keep an eye on things. So keep an eye on yourself. Keep an eye on your friends. Good morning, Judy. Check in with people, right? That is something that can really help. If you're feeling really alone and you're feeling really overwhelmed, reach out to somebody. They're probably feeling the same way, and touching base with other people, putting yourself kind of out of your head and into conversation with somebody, into kind of sharing sort of what you're going through, it can really help. Okay, so that's your public service announcement for the day. So as you are working through your practice today, see if you can just be kind to yourself. Give yourself a little slack, right? Have some understanding that this is a difficult time for all of us. We are doing our best. It doesn't mean we're not going to get mad. We're not going to lose our cool about stuff, but try to hold that perspective that everybody is going through a difficult time. Nobody has ever done this before, unless, I don't know. I keep reading about these people that are like 102 years old who lived through the Spanish flu And now they're living through this. They've been through this, right? Although they were probably like 2 years old or something. I don't know. But the rest of us have never come through this. It's all new. But yoga prepares us for what's new. It prepares us to keep a steady mind, keep a steady heart, going through whatever may come. Um, and it's a good place to start. So let's do some asana. Sitting up tall, relax the shoulders, breathe. One more breath in, and then chin down toward the chest. Let the head hang down. Moving your head around. Big circle. And then reverse. And back to center. Lean forward. Moving around. One way and the other. Back up to your seat, arms wide. Deep breath in, exhale, hands together. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. And exhale. Interlace the fingers, lift the hands, gaze up. And then arms down by your side. Inhale, lift. Lower. Lift. And lower. Too close to the cushion here. Inhale, back up. And then bring the right arm down, reach across. Switch sides. And back up. Let's lift the shoulders, roll back. And forward. Right hand on left knee, left arm behind you. Sit up tall. And then twist. Back to center. Switch sides. And back to center. Walk the hands out. And then hands behind you. Lean back a little bit. Gaze up. to your seat. Tabletop. Sitting back on the heels. Moving back up. Tabletop to downward dog. And breathe. Step the feet up. And breathe. Slowly rising up. Standing tall. Breath in. And breath out. Inhale, lift the arms. Exhale, fold. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, right foot steps back. Drop your knee. Arms overhead. Hands to the mat. Step back. Downward dog. Inhale, high plank. Lower down. Inhale, lift, head and chest. Lower. Lift. And lower. One more lift. And lower. Making your way back up. Tabletop to downward dog. Take one more breath. On the exhale, we're stepping right foot up. Set your knee down, arms overhead. Hands to the mat. Step the back foot up and fold. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, fold. Inhale, lifting up. Back to mountain. Breath in and breath out. Inhale, lift. Exhale, lower. Inhale, flat back. On the exhale, step back with the left. Set your knee down, arms overhead. Hands down. Stepping back. Downward dog. Inhale, high plank. And lower. Inhale, lift, head and chest. Lower. Inhale, lift. And lower. Once more. Then lower down. Working back up. Tabletop to downward dog. Take one more breath. On the exhale, step up with the left foot. Drop your knee, arms overhead. And hands down to the mat. Step the back foot up and fold. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, fold. Lift. On your inhale, and then back to mountain. Take a breath in and out. Let's step out to the side. Wide leg here. Take a deep breath. And then leaning forward. Hands release down if you want. And just find however you want to do this pose today. What feels good? Hands to the waist, we're rising up. Breath in and breath out. Turning, so we're facing the front of the mat. Right leg out, left leg back. Interlace the fingers, shoulders together. Take a deep breath and fold. And then let's come up about halfway. We'll keep the hands behind. Shift the weight. So you're basically on that right foot and the left leg isn't really necessary. We'll lift up. And breathe. You can, if you step out, you can step back and try again. It's all good. And then just set the foot back down. Back foot steps to the front. And we'll come up and stand in mountain. Breath in and out. Stepping To the side again, facing whichever side you want. Let's take a deep breath in, fold forward again. So whatever you did before, maybe something a little different, right? So if you had hands in front, maybe you walk them back. Maybe you grab a hold of the ankles. You could do yogi toe lock and then draw yourself down. Whatever your choice is, just breathe. I have a little mosquito in here. Sorry, guy. And then rising up. Take a breath. Maybe bring the arms up over the head. Especially if you feel lightheaded, this is always good. Grab opposite elbows. So yeah, I try to be kind to bugs, but if you're a mosquito, I don't really like you. And I'm not going to be kind to you. So that's okay, right? All life is precious, but if you have things that are dangerous or potentially disease-causing or sickness, it's okay to get rid of those guys. So we're all right with that. And then stepping the left foot out, right foot back. Deep breath and fold. Rising up about halfway. We are shifting the weight into the left side so we can lift up the right leg. And balance. And then set the foot back down. We're going to step up, arms overhead, and back to mountain. Breath in and out. And then let's just come down to a seat on the mat. Soles of the feet together. Sitting up tall, fold forward. And then back up, both legs out in front. So I'm on a Facebook group about gardens. Inhale, lift, exhale, fold. And there are always people on there asking, put in pictures of plants and different bugs that they find, asking, is this a weed? Or is this a dangerous bug? Or should I kill this bug? Should I kill this snake that I saw? Different things. And thankfully, come on back up, most people on there say, no, leave it alone. It's fine. Let's bend the right knee. So with a lot of plants, people think that they are weeds. One person's weed, though, is someone's beautiful plant. It really just depends what you're looking for and how perfect you need everything to be. Some people want, no vines, no nothing. Some people kind of enjoy that. So again, it's very much in the eye of the beholder. Um, and then set the knee down, bring the foot in. Sitting up tall, fold forward. The same thing with bugs, right? Bugs serve their purpose in a greater ecology. So when they come into contact with us, we decide we want to kill them or get rid of them. We're inserting ourselves into a system that works really well without us. It doesn't need us to police the bugs. They take care of themselves. So we want to tread lightly there. And, if you have one and you could safely relocate it outside, it's much better. If it's a dangerous bug that could hurt you or make you sick, then yeah, getting rid of it, however you need to do that is, that's okay. Come on back up. And then let's switch. I am pained. I think they got rid of it. Or one of our neighbors at one point had a bug zapper sitting up tall here. And I always felt very, very sad about that because that seems like really overkill, right? You have it outside, killing the bugs where they're meant to be, right? And then set the foot down. Take a deep breath and fold forward. So a lot of this, comes from a misunderstanding of our place in the world. We are just part of everything, right? Everything is one. And again, these systems evolved and came into being with us as part of it, but not a destructive part of it, just a beneficial part of it. Come on, back up, both legs out in front. Deep breath in and fold forward. Moving back up. Bend the knees. Soles of the feet to the mat, and then lowering down. We're rocking back. Rest on the mat. And breathe. And if the knees are bent, just extend them. Relax. Bring the right knee into the chest. Hug it in. And then lowering that knee out to the right. Keep breathing. Back up. And knee across. Breathe. Coming back to center. Extend the leg. Left knee in towards the body. Lowering out. And then bringing the knee across. Back to center. Extend the legs. And breathe. Bend the knees, soles of the feet to the mat. Setting up for bridge. Hands by the side. Pressing down. The hands and feet, we're lifting up. Lower down. Soles of the feet together, knees apart. Relax and breathe. Bring your knees to center. Rock a little bit, side to side. Happy baby here. So extend the legs a little. We can grab a hold of the instep or the ankle, whatever we can reach. And just breathe. You can move a little if that feels good, but you can also just stay still here. And then extend the legs straight up. Then lowering the legs down and getting comfortable on your mat for Shavasana. resting peacefully. So at the center of what we teach, what we try to sort of get our heads around in yoga is this idea of everything being one. We are all part of each other. We are all part of each other's lives. We are dependent on the connections between all of us. We all share that self, that true self within. And every single thing in our environment, in our world, is part of that. We're all made of the same substance. We are all living here on this earth together. And what we do to one another matters. We can make this a beautiful place, or we can make this hell on earth. It is entirely in how we see things. So even if someone doesn't care about that, right? All they care about is themselves, it's still a good idea, right? So we feel this isolation and sense of aloneness when we reject that idea of us being connected and all one. If we embrace that idea, then we aren't alone. We're all in this together. And it is not only a comforting feeling, it is a feeling that spurs compassion, right? So if you feel like you don't have a lot of compassion for others, maybe it's because you really aren't embracing that sensation, that belief. When you live that reality, that truth, you can't help but have compassion. Other people, their struggles and their difficulties are much more relatable, right? And that is helpful to us. It makes us feel like, part of the team instead of it's a struggle, right? It's a fight. I'm having trouble over here. This person's having trouble over there, but I don't care about them. All I care about is me. I mean, that's one way to do it, but it's a really isolating and lonely way to do it. So, for your own well being and mental health, I would recommend getting on that, team world where we are all sort of looking for the same thing. We may have different ways of going about it. We might have different ideas about how we might achieve that. But we all need the same things, right? We want to be loved. We want to be safe. We want to feel like what we do matters. Right? Have some meaningful work in our life. These are universal desires and needs. And when you can think about that, think of everyone struggling for that, even people you don't like, even people you don't understand, or you think they're very wrong and misguided. Understand that they too want the same things that you do. They just may have a really terrible way of going about trying to do that. So we may not agree with them, but we can extend them compassion, knowing that they are struggling just as we are. When you feel ready, moving a bit then, fingers and toes, hands and feet. Maybe stretching. And then making your way up to a seat. We've got hands together for a breath in and out. Thank you for taking time this morning for some yoga, for sharing it with me. I hope you have a really good Monday. Namaste. Thank you. Let's do some meditation. Oh, well, before I do that, actually, did I tell you guys? Maybe I'll send an email around too. But yeah, I did. I spoke to Jan at Garfield, and they aren't going to be starting anytime soon. I think they're just periodically checking to see what everyone's feelings are about that. But I guess they also have their ideas about whether it's a good idea or not. I do know, I did talk to Jan about, there are some courses that they are doing, or classes that they're doing online. I don't know all the details of that. I'm assuming that they have like they're taping some videos or something and maybe putting them online at the county site. But I don't know. Again, she wasn't really specific about that information. But I think if you called Garfield Park and asked them about that, I think there's a couple of the fitness classes that they may be putting videos of online. So if you're interested in that, you should check that out. And if anybody knows anything about that and wants to share that with the group, that would be great. Because clearly I don't know anything. All right, so finding a comfortable seat. Close your eyes and sit up tall. Looking for that peaceful space between the thoughts where you can be at peace. When you're ready, opening the eyes, coming back to awareness. Okay, there you go. 5 minutes of meditation. So when I was thinking about this, I was sort of trying to think about what when I'm meditating, so we have this idea that we can hold this picture or mantra or something in the mind that kind of holds a space. And I really like the idea of, and I do this sometimes with the idea of like a canvas or a screen, um, because it really reminds us of this, how we aren't our thoughts. Our thoughts are merely something that's projected onto something else inside here, right? Um, a screen or a picture. And you can picture it sort of blank, and then the thoughts come and then the thoughts go and it's still there. Or you could do a color. Sometimes I do a color, and that's helpful to me. Like I think of it being just a block of color, right? And then you can think about, you can sort of visualize that color. And um, again, it's whatever is something simple that will keep you from, you don't want to be, go off on some tangent about, oh, it's green. What a beautiful green. Reminds me of green grass that I saw last week out of that beautiful, you want to bring it back in. So it may or may not be helpful to you. You'll have to see what works, but sometimes that's helpful to me. So whatever keeps you focused, but also reminds you that you are not your thoughts, right? The thoughts can cease and you're still here. So, okay, go out and have fun on your Monday, and I'll be back tomorrow.